I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle.
Right.
Now, it does come with some, it's some adversity.
Mm-hmm.
It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your business.
Yeah. T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his...
Lights flickered, alarms screamed from the monitors, and doctors moved frantically around his bed, trying to keep him alive. It wasn't just a medical emergency. It was a scene straight out of a horror movie, and it only got darker with every new leak, every new rumor, every new revelation that hit the internet like a bomb. Tiny King's mother completely collapsed in the hospital hallway. Her screams echoing down the corridors, her body trembling so violently nurses had to hold her up. That heartbreaking moment was caught on camera and spread like wildfire across social media, leaving millions of fans across the globe in tears. Hashtags like Pray for King and J Justice for King Harris shot straight to the top of the worldwide trends within minutes. But while the world cried with the Harris family, shocking details began to surface that flipped this tragedy into something much more sinister. According to a leaked medical report, King's injuries weren't from some simple jailhouse fight. No. Insiders claimed his body carried calculated torture wounds, patterns too precise, too cruel to be explained by fists and kicks. This wasn't just violence. This was a message. Someone wanted him broken, maybe even gone forever. Then came the audio leak that left chills across the country. In a grainy clip, a prison guard's voice could be heard whispering, "The order came from above. We just cleared the way." That single line flipped the entire internet upside down. Who gave the order? Who wanted King Harris silenced so badly that they turned his beating into something resembling a planned execution? Try to take the good with the bad and just let them know you're going to prison if you keep it up. Fans, bloggers, and conspiracy theorists immediately pointed fingers everywhere, from rival gangs to industry enemies to powerful figures in politics and prison systems. Whispers even suggested this wasn't about King at all. It was about silencing the Harris family once and for all. And just when people thought things couldn't possibly get more chilling, another rumor exploded online. A supposed ICU CCTV clip showing masked men entering King's hospital room in the dead of night, allegedly tampering with his life support machines. If that footage is real, it means King's life wasn't even safe inside a hospital surrounded by doctors, because forces bigger than anyone imagined wanted him gone. Outside the hospital, the situation was spiraling into chaos. Protesters, fans, and family members gathered in the streets chanting, "Protect King!" and holding candles in the cold Atlanta air. Some prayed, others demanded justice. The atmosphere was electric, grief mixed with rage. Inside, T himself stood shattered. The man who always carried himself with confidence was now broken, pacing the halls with his hands shaking, his voice cracking as he begged cameras. "My son is being targeted like he's some kind of enemy. He's just a kid. Please, someone stop this madness." His raw plea instantly went viral, drawing waves of support from some and cold comments from others, who heartlessly claimed this was karma for T.I.'s past. The internet split in two, half rallying behind the Harris family, half mocking their pain, turning a private family tragedy into a global public spectacle. And then came the footage no one was prepared for. An anonymous source claimed to have CCTV from inside the hospital showing two hooded figures creeping into King's ICU around 2:47 a.m. One crouched near his bed while the other acted as a lookout by the door. The clip cut off before showing more, but the implications were terrifying. Someone was actively sabotaging his recovery. Nurses and doctors already under enormous pressure reportedly whispered that they feared outside interference. That even within the hospital walls, King's life wasn't safe. One whistleblower nurse even revealed that King's ventilator had mysteriously shut off for several seconds earlier that night, before alarms screamed, and the footage of that exact moment gone from hospital records. Was it coincidence or a full-blown cover-up? Nobody knew, but the internet went wild, accusing powerful players of pulling strings to erase evidence and silence King forever. Meanwhile, the Harris family's grief kept spilling out for the world to see. Tiny was filmed crying so hard outside the ICU doors that she nearly passed out again, begging, "Don't take my baby. Don't take him from me." The clip broke millions of hearts and was replayed endlessly on TikTok and Instagram. Ty, unable to control his emotions, allegedly punched walls, screamed at doctors, and accused the hospital of lying to cover up what he believed was murder. Witnesses said his rage was so explosive that security had to step in after he smashed a chair. Those images spread across the internet instantly, painting a picture of a father fighting not just for his son's life, but against a system he believed was out to erase him. As if the storm wasn't already unbearable, another shocking claim surfaced. King's blood reportedly tested positive for foreign toxins, substances not linked to the jail beating and not part of any prescribed hospital medication. The whispers got louder. Was someone poisoning him inside the hospital? Anonymous hacker groups even claimed they accessed hospital files, posting, "They're not saving King, they're finishing him." Fans across the globe erupted, convinced this wasn't just about a fight gone wrong, but a targeted attack backed by serious power. Outside, protests escalated. Some demonstrators clashed with riot police stationed at the hospital doors. Tear gas filled the air as the city turned into a battleground over King's fate. Social media live streams captured every second with millions watching in real time as Atlanta burned with fury and grief. By sunrise, this wasn't just about a teenager fighting for his life. This had exploded into a war of narratives, some claiming King was paying for the sins of his father, others saying he was a victim of an industry plot designed to silence him before he spoke out. And with every rumor, every leak, every scream from the ICU, the truth became harder to find. What was undeniable, though, was this. King Harris was caught in the middle of a storm bigger than himself. A storm threatening to shatter not just his family, but the entire industry watching from the shadows. As dawn broke over Atlanta, the nightmare only deepened. King Harris's condition slipped from critical but stable into something far more terrifying. Doctors whispered about organ failure. Nurses ran from room to room with trays of emergency drugs, and every beep from the machine strapped to King's fragile body hit like a hammer in the hearts of his family. Around 5:00 a.m., Ty and Tiny were pulled into a private room and told words that no parent should ever be forced to hear. "If we don't see improvement soon, we may have to discuss letting him go." That single line shattered the Harris family. Tiny collapsed again, screaming so loudly, staff said her cry shook the entire floor. Witnesses claimed she had to be treated herself after fainting. A secret recording of that exact breakdown leaked online, flooding millions of feeds, turning the internet into a river of tears. People didn't just see grief. They felt it raw and unfiltered, like the entire world was watching a mother lose her soul in real time. But just when it felt like nothing could get worse, another confidential report leaked. This one suggesting King's bloodstream contained traces of a mysterious substance that didn't match any treatment doctors had given. Analysts quickly ruled out common drugs, implying that this wasn't just a medical crisis. It was sabotage. Somebody had tampered with his IV lines, sneaking poison into his system while he was lying defenseless in that bed. That revelation exploded online, fueling hashtags like #ICUBreach and Protect King Harris. Fans demanded answers. How could the son of one of hip-hop's biggest names, a high-profile patient in one of Atlanta's busiest hospitals, be left so vulnerable? Within hours, anonymous accounts dropped yet another clip, supposedly CCTV footage of two hooded figures creeping into King's ICU room. One bent down near his bed while the other stood guard at the door. The clip cut off before showing what they did, but the message was clear. Someone didn't just want Kingert hurt, they wanted him gone. And they weren't stopping at the jail walls. They followed him straight into the hospital. The chaos outside the hospital was just as wild. Fans and protesters packed the streets. Some holding candles, some holding signs reading, "Justice for King." The air was thick with tension, chants echoing, helicopters circling, and police in riot gear trying to hold the line. The hospital no longer looked like a place of healing. It looked like a war zone. Reporters swarmed. Cameras caught every scream, every argument, every tear. And the Harris family's private pain was now being broadcast worldwide. Tiny's relatives reportedly pointed fingers at Ty, accusing him of bringing a curse on the family with his past lifestyle. Ty snapped back, yelling, "This ain't karma. This is murder." That heated exchange was caught on camera, went viral instantly, and only deepened the divide online. The internet split between those who believed King was an innocent victim of a dark conspiracy and those who cruelly insisted the Harris family was paying for old sins. Then, another chilling leak dropped like a bomb. This time not from guards or nurses, but allegedly from a high-ranking official tied to Georgia's prison system. In a muffled call, a voice said the words that froze everyone. "If the boy talks, everything collapses. He can't leave that bed alive." That one sentence set the internet on fire. Suddenly, this wasn't just about King being attacked because of who his father was. No fans now believed King was sitting on secrets so dangerous that powerful people wanted him silenced forever. T. died and broken doubled down outside the hospital, telling reporters, "My son is a victim of a system that would rather silence him than protect him. This ain't no accident. This is planned." His statement split the internet even more. Some standing with him, others mocking, saying he was using tragedy to gain sympathy. But whether people believed him or not, one fact was undeniable. The Harris family was living through hell, and the whole world was watching. Inside the ICU, the horror kept piling up. A whistleblower nurse risked her career to reveal that King's ventilator had mysteriously shut off for several seconds in the middle of the night before alarms went off. And when staff went back to review security footage from that moment, the files were missing, gone, erased like they'd never existed. Coincidence or deliberate cover-up? Fans across the globe didn't hesitate. They screamed cover-up. Social media was drowning in conspiracy threads, some saying this was mafia-style revenge, others claiming jealous rappers set it up, and even more insisting the government was involved. Theories spread like wildfire. But the one thing nobody doubted was that King Harris's life was hanging by a thread. Even celebrities began to chime in, making the storm bigger. Cardi B went live crying, saying, "That baby don't deserve this. I don't care what y'all think about his daddy. Pray for King Man." Snoop Dogg added fuel to the fire, cryptically warning, "The industry ain't what it seems. Protect your kids. They after all of us." Those words sent chills across social media as if confirming what fans already feared, that something much larger, much darker was unfolding behind the scenes. And while celebrities spoke, the hospital itself turned into a fortress. Security was tripled after protesters tried to storm the entrance. Police lined up in riot gear. The whole place looked less like a hospital and more like a battleground. With King Harris's life at the center of it all, doctors inside grew more desperate. They whispered phrases like multi-organ failure and irreversible damage, cold medical words that ripped the Harris family to pieces. One insider claimed T.I. lost control completely, punching walls, screaming at doctors, shouting, "Don't tell me to let go. You're lying. You're not doing enough." His rage terrified patients and staff alike, but it also showed just how shattered he truly was. Meanwhile, Tiny clutched King's hand so tightly nurses had to pull her back. Neither parent would leave his side, even as doctors warned the hours ahead would decide everything. By morning, social media was drowning in unverified leaks, each scarier than the last, including one that claimed King had actually been declared clinically dead for nearly 2 minutes before doctors shocked his heart back to life with electric paddles. If true, it meant the Harris family had already watched their son die once, only for him to be dragged back from the brink. That revelation sent fans into a frenzy, sobbing at the thought of a mother almost losing her child in real time, and speculating whether someone was deliberately keeping King trapped between life and death. By noon, what had started as a personal family tragedy had exploded into a full-blown international scandal. Protesters outside had grown from hundreds to thousands, chanting louder, crying harder, demanding justice. Helicopters hovered overhead as Atlanta turned into a city under siege. Inside, T and Tiny refused to leave King's bedside. Even as his body showed signs of shutting down, doctors told them again, "Prepare for the worst." And that phrase, when leaked, went viral instantly. Arst, prepare for King shot to the top of the trends with millions of fans posting prayers, videos, and desperate pleas for a miracle. But alongside the prayers came darker whispers that this wasn't an accident, that it wasn't fate, but a plot carefully orchestrated by powerful hands determined to finish what started in that jail cell. King Harris wasn't just a teenager fighting for his life. He was now the center of one of the darkest, most controversial stories the rap game had ever seen. By nightfall, Atlanta was a city on edge. Grady Memorial Hospital looked less like a medical center and more like a battlefield with riot police guarding the doors, helicopters buzzing overhead, and thousands of fans holding signs and candles chanting justice for King. The world wasn't just watching anymore. It was demanding answers. Inside, the atmosphere was suffocating. King Harris's condition had hit rock bottom, his lungs failing, kidneys shutting down, and every passing hour pushing him closer to the edge. Doctors whispered the words, "No family ever wants to hear, prepare for the worst." When that phrase leaked, it ripped through the internet like lightning, fueling a wave of panic so massive that #Prepare for King became the top trending topic worldwide. People weren't just tweeting prayers, they were begging for a miracle. And then came the most shocking claim of all. King was allegedly declared clinically dead for 2 whole minutes before doctors shocked his heart back to life. A whistleblower insisted the team had to use electric paddles twice just to restart his pulse, painting a picture of a young man who had already been pulled from death's grip once. That revelation shattered fans. Some sobbed uncontrollably. Others grew convinced this wasn't just fate. They believed someone was deliberately keeping King trapped between life and death. Ty and Tiny's grief boiled into open war against the hospital. Witnesses said T exploded in rage after hearing his son's heart had stopped, storming into the ICU hallway and screaming at administrators. "If my son dies, I swear the truth will come out. Y'all think this is medicine? No, this is murder." His fury was so violent he allegedly smashed a chair against the wall before security restrained him. The footage leaked online almost instantly, sending shockwaves through social media with millions watching a father's breaking point in real time. Meanwhile, Tiny was filmed falling to her knees outside the ICU doors, clutching a rosary, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. That heartbreaking moment was replayed endlessly on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Anchors calling it one of the saddest scenes of the year, fans across the globe crying as they watched a mother beg God to save her son. The Harris family's pain had turned into one of the most public tragedies in recent memory. A moment where grief, conspiracy, and spectacle collided all at once. But the storm wasn't slowing down. Anonymous hackers claimed they had broken into hospital files, releasing a confidential report showing King's bloodstream contained foreign toxins, substances that didn't match any medication doctors had prescribed. The hackers didn't just drop files, they dropped the statement. They're not saving King, they're finishing him. That revelation threw gasoline on an already raging fire. Protesters outside the hospital erupted, chanting, "Cover up! Cover up!" while others clashed with police. Tear gas filled the streets as live streams captured the chaos in real time. Millions tuning in to watch Atlanta turn into a city of unrest. In the celebrity world, they couldn't stay quiet anymore. 50 Cent jumped on Instagram calling out industry snakes he claimed orchestrated the attack. Meek Mill tweeted, "They try to silence the next generation before they even start. This ain't no accident." Kanye West added his own cryptic post. "This is what happens when you say no to them. They punish your bloodline." Each statement only fueled the fire, making fans more convinced King wasn't just a victim of violence. He was caught in the middle of a much bigger war involving industry power, prison corruption, and politics. The theories hit levels of pure insanity. Some swore jealous rappers set this up out of revenge. Others claimed rival gangs wanted to send a message to T.I. And more extreme voices said government officials were silencing King because of something he knew. Anonymous accounts even claimed King had been working on an unreleased track that allegedly exposed powerful names in the industry, and that was the real reason behind his brutal attack. Whether true or not, the speculation had spiraled beyond control. The internet was no longer just following the story, it was driving it. shaping the narrative minute by minute, leak by leak, post by post. King Harris's life had become a global spectacle. Every tear from his parents, every scream from his fans, every rumor of sabotage feeding the fire of a tragedy that refused to slow down. And then came the chilling footage that sent shivers across the world. A supposed ICU camera feed showing two masked men lurking outside King's hospital room, one holding what looked like a small case. Conspiracy theorists swore it contained poison or tools to tamper with medical equipment. Whether real or fake, the clip went viral in minutes, convincing millions that King was still under attack, even inside the walls of the hospital. By late evening, T stepped outside to face the massive crowd gathered in the streets. His face was soaked with tears, his body trembling, his voice cracking as he cried out, "They told me to prepare for the worst, but how do you prepare for losing your child? My boy's in there fighting for his life while the world watches. Please, I'm begging you, pray harder than you ever prayed. He doesn't deserve this. None of this is fair." That heartbreaking plea instantly went viral, being replayed millions of times across every platform. Fans described it as one of the rawest, most emotional moments ever seen from a rap legend. A father stripped bare by pain begging,